I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions. We'll get away, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out, die with my own doubts. Be free with me. Let's be free Now looking back, eyes on the freeway, Bonnie and Clyde, a classic cliche. We're on the run, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out, die with my own doubts.
Hi guys, it's Debbie with Debbie J's Crafting Corner. Welcome, welcome. And there we go. I've got YouTube pulled up on another screen, so I had that sound in my head. That's not really good. Looking through all of the chat, and this is super awesome. If you don't know me, my name is Debbie. I'm with Debbie J's Crafting Corner, and primarily what I do is I do a lot of card making, do a lot of other kind of crafts too. I've done some sublimation using artistry and do hot foiling. Anyway, I like some of the smaller kind of projects instead of big things like scrapbooks and stuff like that because they're quick and easy and I can store these in little space and not have to worry about it. I mean, I don't know if any of you guys feel that too. I love creating, but some of my paper mache things take up way too much space, so I stopped doing that years ago. Anyway, why don't we go ahead and get started with some questions? What have you got? Okay, Claudia Smith says, I saw you use the Glimmer system, and oh my God, it wowed me. What exactly does it do? Because then you put it into the die cutter. Is that a two-part system? The cutter is also called Glimmer. Okay, so these are from Spellbinders. That's my preferred brand. I've also got a Gemini foil press that is from Crafter's Companion, which makes the Gemini Junior and Gemini Gemini die cutting machines. So I've got two different machines. I like the Glimmer system better. That is the name that Spellbinders gave it, probably because of the way that everything shines. What the Glimmer system does, it is a hot platform. So you turn it on, it heats up. The heat activates the adhesive that's on the back of the hot foil, the gray part that you see on the foil. Let me grab out one. When you've got a roll of foil, you've got the shiny side And then you've got the matte side, which is also this silvery color. And this, when it's a hot foil, it actually has an adhesive built in. And what happens with your hot system is it heats up that adhesive. And then when you run it through the die cutting machine, it presses that foil and that adhesive into your paper, and that's how it sticks. If you've done any other kind of foil, you know that a lot of times we'll use some kind of adhesive, whether it is double-sided tape or whether it is toner from our printer. And that is what is actually the adhesive. The toner is what is the adhesive to go with that type of regular foil. Hot foil is specifically designed with the adhesive in the foil. So this will not work. Well, I'll take that back. Toner foil will not work on a hot foil system. It'll work with any other kind of adhesive, but it will not work with just the heat and pressure adding it. Okay, do we have another question? After foiling, you popped up your die cuts, but you also added glue. Is that because the foiling gets heavy on the cards? No, that is because I need wiggle room to make sure that I can get everything to stay where I want it. So it doesn't matter what the die cut is. It has nothing to do with the foiling. If I'm using die cuts, a lot of times I will use my art glitter glue on the back of my foam, because I love foam, so that I can make sure that if I put it on there, if I don't use this, sometimes the foam will stick too much, and if I have to move it because it's in the wrong spot, which happens a lot, I'll rip my paper. If I use this, it gives me a little bit of time to be able to move it around just in case. Okay, what's up next? You take the item from the Glimmer that looks like a hot shot cutter. I'm not sure exactly what that one means. I think you're talking about like a Big Shot. That's a die cutting machine. The die cutting machine that I prefer right now is also from Spellbinders, and that's this guy. Reason being, I do have a Big Kick, which is the Michael's release of the Big Shot from Sizzix, but it's a huge machine. It's like this big. This thing folds up, meaning I can put it under my desk. I can lift it up, put it on my desk, no problem. That's also the reason why I liked the Glimmer, the Gemini foil press to begin with, because it goes into my Gemini Junior, which I've also got sitting on my desk. A lot of it has to do with space. I've got a 7-foot long desk, but if you're like me, and I know a lot of you guys are, yeah, supplies kind of start to stack, and you have to have a plate. You won't have a room to work with everything. So this guy is going right back down under my desk where it lives, and I bring it out every time that I use it for foiling or die cutting or whatever. Okay, next question. Okay, so Aaron put up that we do have the freebie is going to be down on the presentation page. And I realized when I watched the video today, first off, there's parts of it I don't like. That's just me. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. But one thing I did notice is that during my video, I mentioned that there was going to be a hot foil class. An intro to hot foil class was going to be my freebie. Well, I kind of changed it up after the fact and didn't realize that that's what I had announced in the video. So what the freebie is instead is a printable so that you guys can download it and print it out, and it's 7 pages long of my top hot foil tips. I'm also doing, though, for all of the All Access Pass holders, you guys can get a free registration into my next hot foil class, which is coming up on March the 25th, I believe is the date. So that's coming up, and it is a live craft along class that you can watch later on if you're not able to make it to the class. I do give 90-day access to those classes, and I have been doing, I'm doing more of the classes. The craft along has been a lot of fun. That way I can get to know you guys can get to know me. I can answer any questions while we're creating, and we can just have a good time together. Bring on the questions. The glue topper. Okay, this is probably not something, Ramona already knows, but my glue topper comes from Miss Gloria Wolf. And in the description on some of the videos on my YouTube channel, I have started adding an email address that if you're interested in this cute little guy, you can get it from her. I've also got some links to everything over in my Discord if you guys are interested in that. Again, everything is listed on my videos and on my website. If you're, I think I've got a link bio over there somewhere where you can find all the thing. But she also made this beauty. So I've got, yes, I'm plugging Gloria. I love her to death. But this is a pokey tool that she made for me. And I think it is just lovely. And you can tell it's one of my favorite colors. Okay, what else do we have? Do you foil first and then use alcohol markers, or do you color first and then foil? You can actually do either. The alcohol markers will not bother your foil. So I do color on them. I would be one that would probably do the foiling first. It's kind of like when you do your stamping. If you want to make sure that all the colors are in the right place, you want to do your stamping first. It's the same thing with foil. You're going to have your lines that are put on your paper by the foil, which is taking the place of your stamp, right? You'll have those lines to know where to color. So I do have I've done a lot of foiling. I absolutely love all things foil. Tips for foiling without a hot foil machine. Well, that was one of the things that I did on one of my recent classes. It was actually back in October. I did a card class on how to get the same basic design. I was using a little foil plate that had a little ghost and stuff on there from Spellbinders, but I also showed how to get a similar look using toner foil, where you can print the things out. And I believe I used one of Erin Reed's printables for that. So you can do them with toner foiling. You can use something similar with your stamps, where you can foil your stamps. You get mixed results on that, or you can do heat embossing. So there are a lot of different ways you can do that. And I did do a class back in October. I think it's available right now on my website as kind of a re-release, so you can get that and still watch it. And like I said, it was loaded. I had like 4 different ones. And I'll probably do something like that similar coming up as well. Can you use any foil on the Glimmer? It needs to be hot foil. That's what I was mentioning before. There are basically 2 types of foil. You've got your hot foil and you've got your toner foil. Your toner foil is one that you're going to need some kind of adhesive or toner. The toner, when it gets hot, that's what the foil sticks to. So you can use your toner foil. For hot foil, you'll need to get some foil that has the adhesive in the silver part. Now, I do have, I do have different brands. For instance, Crafter's Companion does have their brand, and you can use Gemini foil on that. But the thing is, this is actually designed to go with higher heat, and the Gemini foil press doesn't like it, which is one reason why I stopped using that machine. I actually broke one because it got too hot. So I love my Glimmer system. I have never had any kind of a problem with it, and it's worked fantastically. But I've also got foil from, I think Deco foil may do some hot foil. Crafty Critta in Australia has hot foil. Blue Bonnet, I did a review for them like about a year or so ago, and I still have some of theirs. There are a lot of, if it's a hot foil, you can use it with your hot foil plates. I have not used foil. What would you recommend I use starting out? Well, if you've never done it, just like with anything in your crafty arsenal, if you've never done it before and you don't know if you're going to like it, you may want to try starting off small. You can get some fabulous results without using a hot foil system. I mean, that's my preferred way to do it. I love the letterpress look. I love the way the hot foil looks on all of my projects. But you can get away with a laminator that, as long as it's hot enough. I do have a Crenova laminator that I've been using that works fine. You can do it with just a laser printer. If you've got a laser printer that prints dark enough, you could even buy printables, say from scrapbook.com. I know Gina K has got some out. I know that ThermoWeb has got some. There's a lot of companies that have got pre-printed foil pages. I'm sorry, foilable printables ready to go. And all you have to do is add the toner foil to it and run it through your laminator or Mink machine, which does run a bit hotter, so you get better results. So there's a lot of different options there. It really depends on where are you at in your crafty journey and what kind of money are you willing to invest in it. I wound up finding that my Gemini foil press was definitely worth the investment. I use it way too much. I love the thing. Do you need to use hot foil plates or are there other options? Could you use dies similar to how you can use them to emboss instead of cut? Absolutely. The one thing to note when you're using a foil press with your dies is that the lines, of course, are going to be very, very dainty and really, really thin. But yes, you can foil with dies. You're basically heating up the metal, and it's the hot metal pressing into the cardstock with the foil that is giving you the foiled results. The peddler, could we use double-sided tape or our hot gun? Double-sided tape, yes. And for your hot gun, I'm thinking you're talking about either your Ranger heated tool or your embossing gun. If you're talking about a hot glue gun, I would say I don't know if that would give you any kind of results. But you did just remind me of something I wound up doing with toner foiling because I wasn't getting enough heat in my laminator because I probably didn't let it sit long enough. I have used my heated gun to heat up the toner that's sticking to the foil better, heat it up more so I was able to get a better impression. That's kind of like as a last resort trying to get something to work with the toner one. My problem was I could never get quite enough toner to go down on my paper with my old printer, and my newer printer, it's still a little bit iffy. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Do you know which category Cricut foil falls in? Cricut foil, from what I understand, I do not have a Cricut. I have not tried their foil. I'm going by what I have seen online myself and heard from other people. My understanding is that that is a hot foil. Okay. However, I do not know if it will work with the Gemini, with the hot foil presses that I've got. I have no idea if it'll work with the Glimmer or not. I've heard that I guess the adhesive on there is different than what we use on some others. For instance, I've also got a Scan and Cut, and I've got a We Are Memory Keepers foil quill, and I just got a Craft Express foil quill that I still need to try out that make it so that you can use your electronic cutting machine to do foiling. That's the same kind of thing that Cricut has done with their Cricut hot foil. So you need to I would say you need to kind of stick to the parameters that have been outlined by Cricut to know exactly how to use that. If you foil with a laminator, what kind of foil do you use? You're going to want to use toner foil, meaning you're not going to want to use Glimmer foil. Glimmer foil from Spellbinders is specifically for hot foil. Deco foil, transferred, those are all. The Deco foil is actually toner foil, but you want to check the packaging to see. If it says it's for hot foil, I would not use it in your laminator. You probably can, and it'll still work if you're using it like with toner or something. However, hot foil tends to be more expensive than toner foil, so save it for using on your hot foil machine. Do you have videos on how to use regular dies with hot foil? I don't recall whether or not I've done one of those as yet. I know I don't have a short video, but I have done a lot of foiling videos in some of my live streams. But Dawn or Donna, please remind me that I need to do that on an upcoming live stream. So I will definitely get that done at some point coming forward. I do know that in one of my classes, one of my students did do some foiling using one of her dies, and it turned out beautiful. Can you use an iron to apply toner foil? I would say you could probably could. I'd say a laminator is going to be safer. My thought on using an iron for something like that is just that it gets really hot and you could burn yourself, and I wouldn't want anybody to burn themselves because they tried something like that. It is entirely up to you, though. I also got some gloves here somewhere. I have some heat-resistant gloves. These are actually ones that I got for using with my heat press for sublimation, but you could definitely use something like this to protect your hands. But safety first, okay? If you want to use an iron, I'd say it's probably going to be similar to using like a Cricut Easy Press or something like that. You'll probably also want to make sure it doesn't have any holes in it. Like a lot of irons are steam. So you'll want to use something that doesn't do the steam so you get a better surface. But I would say if you're applying heat, probably. When it comes to, and that would, I would say that would be in place of trying it instead of a laminator, not instead of the Gemini foil press, because with the foil press, you've also got that press part, that letterpress part. And I'm going to hold this up to the camera and hopefully you'll be able to see it. This is the card that I made in the video, and you should be able to see, besides just the shiny foil, you should be able to see where it's imprinted into the card. I don't know if you guys can see the dent, a little bit of a impression, meaning even if you don't have the foil, you could still, or even the press, you could use the plate and run it through kind of as an embossing. It will give a letterpress, meaning just an imprinted into the cardstock look. The laminator that I have, I got it off of Amazon, and it's from Cronova. I've got a review video and blog post. You can check out my blog, just look up Cronova, but there is a blog post and a review. It's about 2 years old, so I probably need to redo the video and such on there. But again, I've never had any kind of problem with it. Oh, say hi to Todd. This is my husband. He just came back from his bike ride.
I have Happy Meal.
Oh, you have Happy Meal. Okay, we're not going to do Happy Meal right now, but anyway. Do I do quilling on my cards? I was going to say I haven't tried it, but I did get a quilling kit for Christmas a year ago, I think. And so my mother-in-law had gotten that for me. So of course I had to try it out, and I made like about 4 cards, but I haven't done a lot of it, probably because of my patience level being very, I want to get done. It's like, I want to do what I'm doing. I want to get done. I mean, die cutting with my machine underneath my desk, definitely my battery on my headset is getting low. Okay, so anyway, doing these is, in my mind, it's quick and easy. I love art, but sometimes some techniques just take longer than I'm either able to or willing to do. And most of my cards, most of the things I create, I turn the camera on and then I have to edit it down if it turns out that it's too long. Bitty Penny says, hi, Todd. Is toner foil usually sold in rolls and hot foil in sheets? My hot foil, this is hot foil, and it's sold in rolls. I think you can probably get them from either way. I would say check the packaging and see what it says. That's very important. I have hot foil that is in sheets. I think I have some that are in sheets. Most of my yes, I do have some hot foil that's in sheets, and I have some hot foil that is in rolls. I have the same thing with the toner foil. I've got them in both ways. So it really just depends on, I would say, look at the packaging and keep these in your packaging at all possible, so you know the color, the brand, and how it works. I use Glimmer so much, I know how this one works. And I'm also using my Glimmer foil system, so I know how that one works. If I was using this on my Gemini foil press that I used to have, I would have to be keeping track of a lot of different details to know what was going to work best on that machine, because it's completely different. You have to get to know the machine you decide to get with. The Gemini foil press was less expensive, but I get much better results with my Glimmer system. What can you do with Deco foil? Does it need heat to transfer? Deco foil tends to be toner foil. However, because I just thought about it, there are other things that you can do to add foil to your projects. Who loves stencils? Does anybody out there love stencils? I know there's been a lot of stenciling videos with things like Simon Hurley, lunar paste, and all that kind of stuff. But there's also Deco foil transfer gel. This stuff, you put it through your stencil, you let it dry, it dries tacky, and then you can add toner foil to it. And those turn out fabulous. What is the foil that can be used with double-sided tape? You're going to want to use toner foil. You can use, I'm going to go ahead and say it, you can use the hot foil, but as I mentioned, hot foil does tend to be more expensive than the toner foil. One card that I did, I don't think I've actually released the video on that one yet. So this one? No, it's not any of these. One video that I did recently, I did something with a hot foil plate. So I did some hot foiling, and then I wanted to have a little border around the edges of my card, like the matting layer. Kind of like you can add like ink and stuff on it, but I wanted it to be the foil. So for that one, I added some of the tape, and then I used the same foil that I had just used for hot foiling on there, so it was an exact match. Brand of laminator. This one is Crenova, Crenova, and I got it off of Amazon. And I do have a review video and blog post over on my blog. Just do a search for Crenova over there, and you'll get to see it. You'll get to see it working in action. And I do have that in a couple, actually several more of my videos, but a lot of times it's during a live stream, so I can't be certain which ones. But you could definitely do a search on my website for anything having to do with foil. And I think I have a playlist that's listed as Crenova over there, so you can see more things where I've used it. You mentioned a class where I'm coming up in March. Where do we sign up for the class? The classes are, if you go to the website down here below, DebbieJ'sCraftingCorner.com, up in the top, I've got in the kind of the bar up at the top, I've got classes listed there, and that's going to take you over to my edu site. That's edu.DebbieJ'sCraftingCorner.com. But you can get to everything going straight to my website. If you go to classes, you'll be able to see a list of all the different classes that I have coming up. The next class I have coming up is going to be on die cutting on March 11th, but the hot foil class is going to be on the 25th. So I've got actually 2 of them coming up next month. Actually got a couple of them. This one is no longer available. Deco Foil came out with something called transfer gel. And this is one that basically you had to use it with heat. So you'd have to use it with a laminator. Okay. Then they came out and stopped having this one, which I already had 2 jars of, so I have not used them up. The other one is Deco Foil Transfer Gel Duo. They've also got it in white, like Deco Gel Duo Blanca, I think is what it's called. But what this is, it's a gel that you can put it through your stencil, and when it dries tacky. So you can just put your foil on there, do a little burnish with your hands, and you're fine. Best results would say go through a die cutting machine to kind of press it down, or you can go through your laminator if you choose to, but the results are just fabulous. I think it was around Halloween that I did my last live stream using that one. Not 100% sure, but I will be doing something again soon. Okay. I think what I said is that I love my, if I did say that I love Gemini, I may have said that wrong. I do have a Gemini Junior, and it is an electronic die cutting machine that I have sitting off to the side over here, so I can quick and easy run it through. I've also got my Platinum 6 from Spellbinders for my die cutting machine. And again, it is quick and easy to use, and I use it in a lot of my videos. So I do use both of the machines. With the Gemini foil press, my issue with that one had more to do with it's just kind of the way that they have it set up. It works fine for their foils. The Gemini foils don't require as high of a heat to do the transfers. But a lot of it depends on which paper you're using, which foil plate you're using. There's basically a lot of different components that go into getting a good result. So I would have to write down, and that's something I'm not really good at. I was having to start writing down all of the details about every single thing that I was trying to foil with it. And I didn't have a lot of really good results. And then when I was using some of the Gemini foil, you have to use it on a higher heat. One thing I did learn about the machine, and this is especially for any of you guys that are using that machine and you have not had an issue yet, I noticed that if I didn't unplug it in between each time I was using it, meaning I'm doing like 5 panels, and in between each panel, I'd have to turn it off or unplug it, because otherwise the platform would get too hot and it would started to warp. Over time, it warped so bad that it cracked. I can't say it'll happen to everybody. I just know it happened to me. And I had to actually replace the platform, the heating platform from my Gemini foil press. I have not had that kind of an issue with the Spellbinder's machine, the Spellbinder's Glimmer system. And here's one of the good things about being married to an engineer. He was able to look at it and help me understand kind of what was going on with it. The two different ones are just made of different materials. One has a different type of plastic that can handle higher heat. It's the same thing with your die cutting machines. Different plates for your die cutting machines are made from different materials. So some of them can handle different pressures, which is why some warp more than others and some crack more than others and all of that. But on my Gemini foil press, that specific one, the quality of the plastics in there was different than the quality of the plastics for my Gemini system, and it was made for different use. That was the issue. That one was not made to go as high. The Gemini foil press, it was not made to go as hot, and the Glimmer system is standard. It's always going to that higher heat level. I know, that was kind of my horse. I need to get off that soapbox, right? How much is the class? I don't see the cost on your website. My classes right now are $15 for the class. That's for the live session, plus you get 90-day access to the recorded. So after the fact, I will be uploading and making sure everything is available for that. If you decide you want to have the lifetime access, so as long as it's up on my website, you'll have access to it. It's like an extra $5. So it's not really that expensive. Do you ever use the Glimmer hot foil system through the Gemini machine? That is actually a very, very good question. And that also explains why I wound up getting a second die cutting machine. I do have a Sizzix die cutting machine, but it's big, and so I have it in a different room. But whenever you're getting a hot foil machine, you have to find out what die cutting machine does it work with. These will not fit interchangeably. If you do have a Gemini Junior, see if I can pick that up and show the slot. You can see how small the slot is there, right? That's the maximum height. I'm gonna see if I can show this on here. Let me switch my screen down. I only have like a minute. Okay, so here's my Gemini. And then this is my Glimmer system. And even without anything on it, it will not fit. So you cannot use this with your Gemini system. You cannot do that. Okay, so it looks like we are done. It is already 6 o'clock, so I am sorry, guys. Thank you so much for all of the questions, and I do want to just let you guys know I do a live stream on Tuesday night at 5:30 Eastern time. Would love for you guys to come and hang out with us. We have a lot of fun and do a lot of crafty stuff. And until then, I will see you guys later. Bye, guys.